All right, let's welcome in the first group of panelists. Mark Pancratz is still going to be stepping in a little later, but right here, Will West is from 99.1 The Sports Animal. Chuck Cavaleris, been with us since the very beginning of this show. Josh Ward from 99.1 The Sports Animal. You were the first guy we rotated in. It was always traditionally me, Chuck, Bob, Jimmy, and Mike Strange. And you were the first young buck that we brought in, and now you're just another old geezer like the rest of us. And right there, Bob Hodge, who's been with us from the start. Thanks to all of you for being here. Lots of exits, only one entry to Tennessee's transfer portal so far. Now, the window closed in terms of leaving, you putting your name in the hat on Saturday, supposedly. At least that's what it's supposed to be. But then Mike Matthews got his portal papers last night at 10:30, but his name might not go until Monday, which begs the question, why do you say the deadline is Saturday if your name might not go out till Monday? I don't know. We have no rules anymore. But the only person Tennessee has grabbed out of the portal so far is Wendell Moe, an offensive lineman from Arizona. They thought they were going to get Josh Thompson, an offensive lineman from Northwestern. Moe's a former 3-star athlete. Thompson's a 4-star athlete. They thought they were going to get him, but LSU came in at the last minute, outspent them. He's going to Baton Rouge. It happens. But boy, it has been a flurry of activity, especially at the receiver position. Squirrel White kind of surprised some people by hitting the portal. Chaz Nimrod was already in the portal. Nathan Laycock and Nathan Spillman both in the portal. Caleb Webb has already landed at Maryland, and then last night the Mike Matthews thing. And there are people who believe that Matthews is hitting the portal simply because he was afraid Nico might hit the portal, and he didn't want to be stuck because there's been rumors all week, kind of started by Nico's family, which is now coming back and saying, oh, don't relax.
This is starting to sound like the Young and the Restless.
Yeah, so he's not going anywhere, supposedly, but I don't think they're happy about the offensive line and receiver situation. I don't know what quarterback's family would be. So I'm just going to throw it out there and just to open it up. Roster management. We got 30 minutes of half this shit to do the free-for-all. Go. What do you want to take? What do you want to take? Jump in.
We called it the Wild Wild West, and that was being kind. I mean, this is worse than certainly worse than what I thought it was going to be. Worse than the NIL, the portal, the time frame. Goodness gracious, happened from what, December the 4th until the 28th, and whether it's business days at the end, having to re-recruit your roster. I mean, it's just gotten out of hand, and they got to get some kind of grip on it. Tennessee, I mean, and this is going on everywhere.
There will be no grips.
Well, they got to do something somewhere to get this under control. I mean, teams are going to have roster turnover like Vanderbilt, 50 players.
But there's one thing you can do, and it's the only thing you can do, and that's make them employees and sign contracts. There's nothing else that you can do with this. So we always talk about, well, they need to put a limit on. No one's coming, right? No. Like, Congress can't do anything to tell you can violate U.S. labor law. A judge isn't going to come in and say you can violate U.S. labor law. So you're going to have to make them employees. That's the only way to slow this down. I think they should have run, not walked, to have gotten this done earlier, because now, like this last offseason, it went parabolic, this window, with how much money players are getting paid, especially once Duke paid the Tulane quarterback $4 million per year. The Tulane quarterback,
but it's only for 2 years,
getting them more than Arch Manning. So then now everybody else's salary is going to go up as well, and the only option you have is to make them employees, or it's just going to continue to grow.
It is out of control. Do you want to turn this back to Tennessee at some point? Who wants to handle the Tennessee roster nonsense?
Well, when Josh Heupel was hired and Pruitt was fired, and you had this huge mass exodus of players, you go, well, you see why. This was a one-time thing. And now is it going to become, at Tennessee, and a lot of other schools as well, is this just the way it is now going to be at the University of Tennessee, that you're renting these guys for a season? And as somebody who has season tickets, as somebody who has followed Tennessee football since I was a wee youngin', this is just such a new world. I don't see how a lot of fans are going to be able to hang with what's happening. Because, one, I pay for the money to go over there and watch football games, and 3 of them every year stink.
Yeah.
Okay? I paid the money to go over there and watch players that supposedly you watch grow up and you become fans of, no longer is that going to happen. So I wonder, does all this, even though the bottom line is now up here, does what get you to the bottom line start being cut out of because the game is just so different?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes back to, well, do you get the right players in place? Last year there was the question about the defensive backfield. A bunch of guys hit the portal from Tennessee, and the immediate reaction was, what's going on here? A lot of guys are leaving. Some veterans that still had eligibility, like a Nico Slaughter, and then Jamal McCoy comes in, and Ricky Gibson's a year older. And by the middle part of this past season, fans were excited about what the defensive backfield was. The offense has to get a lot better from what it was this year.
There's nothing to get excited about.
No, but let's keep it on the targeted Tennessee stuff.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
this segment.
yeah.
Then we'll get to the big pictures.
So I think the wide receiver reaction immediately is what's going on. All these guys are hitting the portal, and part of it could be Mike Matthews comes back, and if that's the case, that's part of your answer. But fans right now are wondering, okay, what does that room look like? Because the offense has to get better. You have Nico's father tweeting out what he does.
Well, let's tell people what he did. This week on Instagram, he had been posting things like thanking Josh Heupel and thanking UT for a good run, correct?
Yeah.
I don't follow him on Instagram, so sorry. But then yesterday, when everybody went nuts that he was leaving, and apparently that's why Mike Matthews signed his name for fear that Nico was going to go.
Yeah.
Then Nico's father tweets out a thing joking. He said, I found out I got more eligibility. I'm going to be protecting Nico on the offensive line and catches passes for him on the wide receiver core, which sounds like a little bit of reality in there. But then he said, re-effing lax. Relax with a little extra in the middle. But they're not relaxing because you'd been tweeting, thanks for everything, Vol Nation. I mean, this is just how the game is played.
They used it for leverage,
This
right?
is how
To
the
get
game
more
is
money
played.
out of Tennessee.
Yeah, so
Tennessee gave them more money, and now Nico's going to stay, and that's the way that it goes.
Yes.
Because this is the new world that we live in.
So the idea that Nico is, making $8 million man, he's the $8 million man. It's more than that now.
Probably.
Yeah. And like with
now,
what
my question would be, does he look like?
he hasn't so far.
I mean, I think he could be, and we're
Yeah.
going to show some numbers
Right.
later that
Right.
will show you very much promise. But in terms of, it's all about just potential at this point and your leverage. It's all leverage, which I guess that's business anywhere, but you've never had it in college sports like this to where there was I know
Right.
David Ubben, our friend David Ubben, loves this, loved it. It was going to be great because the players get theirs. And I said, yeah, that sounds good, but let's see if it doesn't destroy the sport. And you can say, oh, sports ratings are great. The NFL just kicked its tail up and down the field. Those playoff games
Yeah.
got destroyed head-to-head with the NFL. But I don't think it is good for the game. Getting back to your point, I think it's bad for the game. But in terms of Tennessee, let's just run through some players real quick for those people tuning in. Nico Iamaleava, not in the portal, gonna stay, got more money. Correct?
Yep. Presumably.
Presumably. Mike Matthews put his name in the portal, or he got the papers to put his name in the portal at 10:30. Whether his name's in the portal, we have
He
to
might
wait
not be
till
in
then.
there on Monday. We don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know that. But more than likely, I think the feeling was he's looking for more money and assurances that Nico's going to be here. So Mike Matthews is probably going to be here. Feelings? Now, I'm sorry.
At least-
We're doing
I
a
have
live
no
show, so if he just tweeted, I'm out, sorry.
At least it doesn't look like he's gone.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't
the
that-
door may
I
be
know.
open, or we'll just see.
Yeah,
On
but
that.
it seems
You've
to be
reopened
like,
negotiations,
Right,
right?
right.
yeah. All right, so Dylan Sampson, your star from a year ago, he has, not surprisingly, decided to go to the NFL. That makes sense. I don't think anybody's surprised by that.
Not a surprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
James Pierce hasn't made an announcement yet, but that's
He's
Yeah.
gone.
he's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Good riddance. Then you've got Holden Stays, tight end.
Wasn't gonna
who
play,
last
why
year-
not, right?
Well,
Yeah.
last year, oh no, all I heard was we got Holden Stays from Notre Dame. Oh, wait. And I said, and it ticked people off, I almost said something else, it ticked people off, that I said, yeah, he had a whole 200 yards at Notre Dame last year. He must be spectacular. And people, oh, wait till you see him. And I came out here like a doofus after the NC State game and said, I was wrong. He's really something. They got two tight ends over there. And you never saw him again. So he's gone.
Or he was getting a penalty when he was getting in.
We don't know about Miles Kitselman. He got the Diego Pavia clearance that he can stay an extra year. But
I think Kitselman possibly coming back is an influence to Stays leaving.
Yes.
Yes.
And Davis is the
Read- you
future,
can read the
Kitselman's
tea
the
leaves.
present.
Yeah.
So where is he going to, when is he going to play?
Boo Carter staying, Christian Harrison, who he split time with, leaving.
So
Anything there? I mean, the Boo Carter
Well,
rumors
Boo
this week were that he wanted to play offense as well as defense, to which I'm not a fan of players dictating terms, but I've seen Tennessee's offense. Put him on offense. I got no problem
But
with it.
he might have been your
snaps
third best
available right now.
receiver.
Give it a
this
shot. Give it a shot, kid.
You know,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, especially now that you don't have receivers, why
Right.
not? Like, I don't love the idea of him
Yeah.
coming back and doing that. I also think there have been 5 guys in my entire life who could play both ways. Champ Bailey, Carl Pickens,
Gordy Lockbaum.
Gordy Lockbaum, but at the lower level. I mean, but is he any of
Gordy.
those guys? Right? That's
I'd
the
say
one
he's
thing I
every bit as
wonder.
good as Gordy Lockbaum.
But is he Champ Bailey? Is he
don't
Charles
care. You don't
Woodson?
need him
Is
to
But here's
he
the thing, you don't know
Travis
yet.
Hunter?
But see, here's one thing.
Why
that
do I need him to be?
Yeah, you
Can he
mentioned-
catch a pass and take it
well,
somewhere?
it's not
I'm
like
good with that.
Bailey and Woodson did a ton on the offensive
Well,
side.
exactly.
Right?
Charles Woodson caught a couple of deep balls.
Yeah, yeah.
There's one
Use him
thing
like
you
that.
mentioned, Will. If you promise a kid in the recruiting process,
Yes.
that you're going to have the chance to play both,
And Tennessee
and
did.
you get here and you don't see that opportunity present itself, and you feel like I can help this team. I mean, I believe I'm better than some of these guys
Do
that
you
are
think
out there on
that's it,
offense.
or do you think it's I'm going to drive up my NFL profile
Well,
the same
I
way
mean,
Travis?
whatever.
I don't know.
Or I,
don't
want
know
to play
Boo Carter
both
from
ways.
Adam, but
People are offering me piles of dough
To go somewhere
If you
else.
want me to stay here, you're going to have to acquiesce. To
I,
this.
give me
I
the
don't
chance,
think.
yeah.
I,
Well,
I don't
I mean,
think there are
that's
very.
part of it.
I don't think there are very many players over there who are right now saying, "I want to do this for the good of my team."
No, I'm
I
just
think
saying,
most of them
as
are
an
saying-
athlete, you know you're good enough
Yeah.
to be out there, and you're
Totally
better than what
different
they're putting on the field.
Travis Hunter
You
was
feel
the
that way.
I think
Travis
they're
Hunter
looking
was
at
the
it saying
number
it
one
will
player
increase my value.
in the recruiting class. Boo Carter was 119. Right, like those other guys were 5-star elite athletes. Boo Carter
But I don't get
was
you-
a 4-star from
What's
Cleveland.
your argument, Will?
That's irrelevant.
who do you see out there that looks good on the
I
receiving
would,
corps?
well, I would go find someone who plays receiver, and I would have them play
they don't-
receiver.
Well,
from
Well,
the
let's
transfer.
talk about scholarship limits next.
You've had 3 years to go find guys to play receiver, and you obviously are not very good at it. You got a guy that looks like a premium athlete. He may not be Charles Woodson. He may not be Champ Bailey, but he's probably better than
Is what
Squirrel
you got.
White.
Yes.
I don't believe there's a chance
Oh.
in Hades he's better than Squirrel White at receiver right now. Because Squirrel White
Can he
plays
catch the
receiver.
ball?
So, well,
That would be a start.
and also, is he healthy? Right? That's the other thing.
Okay.
Squirrel White's not healthy, but Squirrel White caught 50 balls 2 years ago.
Yep.
Right? So, I just don't
Caught a few,
see
too.
a 4-star, 5'11", 180-pound guy catching,
Okay, we're looking at what do you
catching 50 balls.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't see. Okay, if he's saying I want to be a full-time both-way player, that's one thing. If he's saying give me some snaps on offense,
Give him
and
15
I'm going
a
to show
game.
you.
Yeah.
and that's fair.
Give him
yeah,
15 a
that's
game.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
give
what
him
I'm
5 a game. That's
Yeah, it's too
enough.
big.
Right.
But if you can get the ball in his hands 2 to 3 times, and he has the wiggle and go to make a play, then I think it ends
Well,
up
did you
being-
not see that on some of the punt
Some-
returns?
Okay, stop. Stop. Need to get a break. All right, when we come back, well, this is lively. Let's talk about why Tennessee isn't just going to go out and grab a bunch of receivers. There are still scholarship limits over there. I remember when they kept delaying and kept delaying and kept delaying with the Jeremy Pruitt thing, and we're waiting on a verdict and waiting on a verdict. Well, you're still paying for it because it waited and waited and waited, and now you've still got scholarship limits thanks to Jeremy Pruitt. And we're going to talk about the receiving core. You know, there's tons of guys in the portal. Are you worried about it because, well, a lot of good players you're losing? Or are you just worried about it because there's no receivers left? I think it's probably more that latter than the former. We'll come back and discuss. Come on back on the Sports Source.